is Shauna Davis, the Epicurean Connection. Thank you for tuning in to Cheese Chats today. And we are honored to have our guest, award-winning cheesemaker Marieke from Mariekes Gouda in Wisconsin. And thank you, Marieke, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I'm very honored to be part of this, and how fun it is to talk about cheese. So that's, by coincidence, one of my favorite subjects. So
I would imagine. Well, thank you for being one of the leading ladies of being a cheesemaker in Wisconsin. I know you work hard and have really put an impression for ladies in the cheesemaking in the state of Wisconsin. So thank you.
well, that's a lot. I don't know if I totally fit the bill, but we sure try to. We have a lot of female people. Hear me. We have a lot of female team members here in the building, and I had a gentleman from Holland coming over one time, and I gave him the tour through the building. And after the tour, he says, "Marieke, are you discriminating against guys, or what's going on here?" So I promise you, we do not discriminate against guys. It's
No, just how it goes sometimes when you're hiring.
Exactly. So, and yeah, we are kind of female run and owned here in Thorp, Wisconsin. And I'm very proud that we have 3 female licensed cheesemakers, including myself, on our team. We have about 40 people here. I started in 2006, on 22 November 2006. So we just next year we're going into our 15th anniversary. So we have planned. Thank you. Yeah, we have some fun stuff planned. And it all started about 15 years ago. I moved from this little little country called Holland that fits about 4 or 5 times in the state of Wisconsin. And have about 17, 18 million people, and in Wisconsin, 5 million. So that was also the reason why we moved to America. It's because there is just more land, more opportunities over here than we had in the Netherlands. And land is very expensive over there because it's very limited. You would about $50,000-$60,000 per acre over there in Holland, and versus about $4,000 or $5,000 an acre in this area where we are. So it was with a little bit relative lower capital, you can start bigger. So we started with 300 cows, grew that company, that farm to about 900, and then we split up the partnership. And in the meanwhile, I started with the cheese making part of it because I was missing my Gouda. So it's been, I would always ask family and friends if they could bring something, and they go like, "What do you want? Chocolate sprinkles? Do you want your caramel cookies?" I said, "No, I want cheese. I would like to have cheese." But due to restriction by the border, the suitcase weight had to get less and less. So it was more like their clothes or my cheese. So I kind of lost that battle every time. So my cheese supply got less and less. And one night I was tossing and turning, and I really wanted to start my own business, and I didn't know what it should be. And then I heard a cow calving, and I thought about my limited supply of Gouda, and I'm like, yep, that's it. We're going to make Gouda. So, but I had no idea how to make it. So I had to go back first to Holland. I worked along with a lady that had 10 cows, and I worked one day along with a farmer that had 200 cows. And I saw how they were making their Goudas. They both had a little bit of different recipe. One was washing the curds once, and the other one was washing the curds twice. Just for the ones that don't know, but Gouda, you water wash. It's a water wash curd. So you wash the curds, and then between Gouda cheesemakers and Gouda cheesemakers, you can choose the temperatures that you wash your curds with, how much water you're using. Do you wash it once or twice? And so that's how you adjust your own recipe. And of course, the cultures that you're using determines a little bit what kind of Gouda you're making. So when I came home, I tried both recipes, and then I changed a little bit things, and that's how we came up with the Marieke Gouda recipe. So and then we were very lucky. Within 4 or 5 months after I started, there was the U.S. Cheese Championship in Madison. And a friend of mine called and said, Marieke, you should enter some cheese because this is the US Cheese Championship. I'm like, okay, Norm, well, if you say so, because he helped us a lot. I'm like, okay. So we entered some cheese. At that time, we only had Martha working with us. Martha picked the wheels. He picked the Gouda cumin. Rolf picked the fenugreek Gouda, and I picked the plain Gouda. And the fenugreek Gouda won right away Golden Award in the 2007 US Cheese Championship. So that really put us on the map. We won over 160 awards right now, and being in 2013 being nominated the best cheese in the United States. And I also call that cheese my green card cheese because my lawyer at that point said, Marieke, you should qualify for the extraordinary ability route. That's what we did, and we got our green card. So I don't have to hide in basements anymore. I was legit before, and now I am. But now we have a permanent visa, and that's because of our cheese. So I'm very grateful.
Another reason to love your cheese.
Yes, indeed. And then I think one of your favorites you were just telling me is the fenugreek. So our fenugreek is it's a, yes, you should come. The fenugreek cheese is a little bit, it's made with a seed that tastes a little bit nutty but smells like maple syrup. And it's the only flavor that we actually cooked the day before and let it soak overnight. And then we add it the next day into the cheese. A lot of people ask me, by the way, when do you add the flavors? And that's so the Marieke Gouda is one basic recipe, but then we add the different flavors. And the flavors are being added right before we pump the curd into our drain table. So we have our cheese fat, we have a double O cheese fat. And then when the curd, I'm not really a science cheesemaker. I'm always a lucky cheesemaker. I feel the curd, and we feel that the curd is ready to get pumped. It gets pumped, but right before we pump it, we add the flavoring to it. And so that's what we do with the fenugreek. How do you like it, Shana?
I love it. And I can never find it out here in California. So I love having it right here in our own studio. Thank you.
And it has that maple syrup. So some people say in a pancake batter, and then so it melts through the pancake when you bake the pancake, and then have maple syrup drizzled all over it is a really good recipe for it.
That sounds delicious.
But it's really good to eat. I like eating it at room temperature is the best way to consume cheese.
I put them out maybe 2 hours ago, so they've been out on the table. And that way I knew I could just jump right in and call you up on the Zoom and then share your cheeses. Would you like to share your flavors? I'm intrigued with the new one that you have, the honey clover honey.
The honey clover, yes, it's a multi-award winner also. It has of a earthy flavor to it. And it's made from honey clover. All our herbs actually, most of the herbs are coming from the Netherlands, so we have them shipped over. And the honey clover is, I think it has a very earthy taste to it. There's nothing else. Our cheeses are very pure. So they're raw milk Farmstead. That means that we have the cows right here on the farm. So when the cows get milk, that milk goes straight through a pipeline under the ground into our cheese fat. So the milk is still warm from the cow's body temperature. And I think that all adds on, contributes to a better flavor profile from the cheese. I also believe that it's very healthy. I think if you have a good begin product, it's very safe to have a raw milk product. We also, on top of that, have to age our cheeses for 60 days. So if something is wrong, we still have that time frame to check it out. We also test cheeses on Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli, Staph aureus in those 60 days, and that's all voluntarily. But we have our own cows. If something is wrong, we're right on top of it. We have to circle complete, I always say. And we don't have to travel with the milk, or we don't have to have the difference in temperatures, which all will damage the molecules in the cheese. So I feel like doing it this way, you will have a very pure product full of flavor.
Well, I love your texture in your cheeses. You do a really nice job with the curds, the smooth, and yet still have that nice Gouda flavor to them, the texture that I love. So you've done a really great job on your aging and when you ship them out, because they're just the perfect texture and flavor.
I'm glad to hear that. So, because I like it, but you know, I'm a little bit biased there.
Here we go. You got some cheese. And let's not overlook your original Gouda. I'm going to cut this one open. And this was your original very first cheese, correct?
Correct. So we have, we do have a whole line of Goudas that we had right away. And it's kind of funny because, well, when we started, um, I I had to pick a couple flavors and I did it in between. I had to wash the curds, we're washing, and I'm like, I had this list with all these flavors and I just picked a whole bunch, but I couldn't choose. You know, I have a little problem with choosing, I think. So I just marked a lot of different flavors and I'm like, oh, well, it will sort itself out. But that's a little bit how we ended up with a whole bunch of flavors because I couldn't pick. And they all went pretty well and they all won awards. So not many left the building. Not had to.
Oh, she blacked out. Oh.
Sorry, my son called and then the Zoom meeting ends. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But anyway, but the plain ones are our young ones. And then we have the different ages from young, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, and 12 to 18, 18 till 24, and then 2 year plus. And we have that because that's a different age profile, which it doesn't make it really easy to market it and all those things. But I think there's such a difference between the ages that we chose to separate those ages.
I see a vertical cheese tasting in yours in my future.
Say that again.
I see a vertical cheese tasting in our future, for sure. I love tasting a cheese at the various ages. And we've been teaching a ton of Zoom classes, and that's one of them is tasting a variety, but tasting the ages of a cheese. So
Yes.
I see that in our future.
Yes. And it's really interesting because it's smooth and creamy in the beginning and you can really see how it changes just with a time frame of a couple months, how much more complex the cheese already becomes. And in our aging room, it has something to do with the aging room too, how you age your cheeses. Because if you would vacuum pack it and put it in a cooler, that doesn't go because you kind of cheeses, they breathe as they age and they will lose moisture. And that's where the more complexity comes in play. So if you would vacuum pack, and there's nothing wrong with the cheese if you would vacuum pack it and put it in a cooler, you stop and slow down the aging process. So and that's in our aging room. Our aging room is between the 50 and 55 Fahrenheit. We have about 70, 75 humidity in the aging room, and we age it on one shelf. So, and then we coat it with a breathable coating around it, so it will let the moisture come through the cheese. So it's a different way of aging it, and you can play with that. So higher humidity will lock more moisture in the cheese. So if it's a little bit dry, it will draw some more out of it. Temperatures will do a lot with the ages. So depending on how you age it, there will be a really big difference in the age groups.
Oh, that sounds exciting, actually. I'm looking forward to possibly doing this with you. That would be fun. And tasting the different various ages.
Yes, it is. And it's just a different way of aging, and they have done it. And then the whole wooden shelf was, of course, a big issue. But I still think with the right protocols in place, it has been done for generations. It's a very safe way of doing it. You just have to test regular, and you have to clean on a regular basis. And our cheeses, after they come out of the brine, they go for 60 hours in a brine, 2.5 days. After they come out, we put a coating around it, and then for the first 40, flip them because they're pretty still pretty wet from the brine. And then after that, we flip them twice a week, and we clean the cheeses. We get the cheese off the plank, we flip them, clean them with water and vinegar, and put it on a dry shelf above or under it. After that whole shelf is empty, then we take that shelf, we sanitize the shelf we flip the shelf and have it ready. Then the bottom is dry for the next 8 wheels of cheeses. So it's a whole process. The most love, tender, and care comes actually after it arrives into the aging room.
Oh, fun. I'm sure, and I looked at your website. I'll be sure to share the website with all of our viewers today, and we'll put your website on the YouTube, and you can find all of our cheese chats and today's cheese chat on either our Epicurean Connection website or on the Epicurean Connection YouTube page. And you can go, get yourself a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, and you can have some good entertainment there, Marieke. We have had Sid Cook, we've had, Bob Wills,
Oh,
so
wow.
you'll have some good entertainment. I haven't had Chris Rowley on yet, soon, but now you're in the same, we'll get to watch you.
Yes, well, you'll sure have to have a beer tasting too with Chris.
Absolutely, one of my favorites. So I know you have all these different flavors, and before I got you on the Zoom, I thought it'd be fun. I like pairing your cheeses with beers. And,
me too.
And so your bacon cheese here, we have a producer here in Northern California that makes a bacon brown ale. And when next time you're in California, I will make sure you get his beers to go with your cheeses, because his bacon ale and your bacon cheese would be divine.
I would love that.
It's from Uncommon Brewers in Santa Cruz, just south of San Francisco. And,
okay.
And then I have your mature Gouda, which would go, I think, beautifully with a more like a nutty brown ale, like a Newcastle style. And the pesto, I would personally have with like a Pilsner or a lighter, so you could still taste the cheese and not
or the lime.
Not have it be overpowered with beer, but a nice Pilsner. I love a Pilsner on a hot day, and a little piece of your pesto basil would be delicious. Your cranberry Gouda, maybe like a red ale, with the cranberries and the red ale, and maybe one of your Goose Island ones from back there would be delicious. And of course, the Fennel Greek, I guess I would probably just have any beer, but I would still probably go with a Pilsner, so you can taste the Gouda and the Fennel Greek and the beer, taste the cheese, taste the beer, and then taste them together. And when you can taste everything all at once, and it's not overpowered. And then your honey one, there's a brewer out here that makes a honey ale, a honey lager with honey in it. Oh my God, that would be so delicious. And so when I put this up, I'll put the pairings that I've suggested with your cheeses on the bottom of it, so our viewers can enjoy them.
Oh, thank you for the suggestions. And it's always funny.
I'm sure you
different one. Yes, but it's always nice to hear everybody else's input too, what they're trying. And sometimes you're so more likely to go back to what you already like that you kind of forget to explore and try some other combinations too. So.
Well, we're in wine country here, so it's often more times to talk about a beer or a cider, because wine is like water here. So it's everywhere. I mean, in a good way, and it's part of our economic livelihood.
Totally underestimated, I always say.
Well, anything else you'd like to share about your company? You got your cheeses, you have a great staff, you live in a nice community. You said 1,600 people in your community?
Yeah, so we're located here in Thorp, Wisconsin. We're about 1,600 people. We started a little bit about 3-4 miles from this location, and we kind of outgrew that building, and then we split up the partnership and we started here from scratch again. It's a beautiful location for a creamery right on the highway. So location is a true thing. We get 150 to 160,000 people every day. Not every day. Let's not exaggerate, Marieke. I'm sorry, it's been a long day already. 150 to 160,000 people every year. And we love to see people come over here and cuddle with a cow and snuggle with a calf. And then it can come into our retail where we normally, before COVID hit, would have any kind of samples for you available. So you could try the different cheeses. We have a little restaurant here too, where people can have sit and enjoy life a little bit. We have a huge jumping pillow, and someday I would love to have a zip line. And then we have little gold pedal carts, and it's so fun. Those pedal carts are from Holland. We imported them from Holland. And I hope here when we hope to do an expansion. And with the expansion, I'm hoping to get a little racetrack for the pedal carts. And I'm
Wow.
telling you, there are fathers that will take their children off the pedal carts so they can go and race with each other. Dads, grown-up men. So it's so fun to see that people can just kind of learn about the dairy industry, but in a relaxing, fun way. And just so fun to see people come over here and put their fingers in a calf's mouth and think, oh, I still have my, so after they get them out. But yeah, we hope to expand next year. Start very well, and we just hope that we can be an how do you say, a very important part of the Gouda industry here. Um, People have in their supermarkets, they see a beautiful Gouda display, that's wonderful, but if our Gouda is not between it, it's just not complete. So I hope that everybody will go to their own supermarkets and look for us, and if not, then please ask for us. They're all Gouda experts right now. You're all Marieke Gouda ambassadors. So we're gonna expand next year, and we hope to make all our milk into Gouda. And we hope to have a very nice aging room and become a little bit more. I love the techniques, the dairy industry, and they're so fun and so innovative. There's constantly new things out there to be more labor saving, like on the people, that it's not all so hard on your body, and make work fun and not labor intensive, to say that. And I think always expansion and growth brings new energy in a team, and it's just really fun to see all these people, and I have a great team. Everybody enjoys their work so far, I know. Yeah, so, and that's the thing. You can have a good idea, but if you don't have the right people to see it through, it's just an idea. And I'm very
Take the
fortunate.
whole team to make a project work.
Yeah, it's all together. Alone, you're nothing. It's all together. So
I agree. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy holiday shipping schedule and cheese making schedule to be on the Cheese Chat. And we will post this up on our website and our YouTube, and I'll send you the link with the pairings.
well, thank you very much. I just want to say a couple fun facts, if you still have time, about Gouda.
Yes.
In Holland, the people are called cheeseheads, and in America, we are just all cheeseheads too. But the reason why the Dutch are called cheeseheads, in the earlier days when they would make the Gouda blocks, they go into a round cadolva, in a round mold made out of wood in the earlier days. When the Dutch would go to war, they would use those round wooden molds as helmets on their heads. So I'm not sure how bulletproof they were, but we have a lot of people, so the survival rate was pretty high still. And another fun fact is about Gouda is that I always thought that Gouda was discovered in a town called Gouda, because in Holland we have the town called Gouda and also a town called Edam of Gouda. And there's not 1 pound of Gouda produced in the town called Gouda, but all the farmers around it, they were all Farmstead creameries. They would go to the market in Gouda, and they would sell their cheeses, and that's why that Farmstead cheese was called Gouda or Goudse. So
I didn't know that. A couple good fun facts. Thank you.
Just wanted to share that with you. So, well, thank you so much. Good.
Well, anytime, and we'll look forward to having you back in the new year, and we'll be in touch about a vertical tasting. And I just want to thank you. I know you're busy with the holiday season, planning your expansion for 2021. And of course, probably manifesting a new flavor of cheese while you're working. So I can only imagine. But thank you again, Marieke. And I'm Shauna Davis and my daughter, Karina. And we thank you for taking time to be on the Cheese Chat.
Thank you so much, ladies. Happy holidays. And see you in 2020.
Be safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.